Oh, howdy there, partner. I didn't see you there. I'm just sitting here reading my newspaper and reading my favorite part, the obituaries. And you just hate to see it, man. You hate to see it. WoW Classic, dead. So let's talk about private servers. Private servers, they always had their share of surprises that were charming in a way. You know, sometimes you do a dungeon and a boss doesn't work. Oh well. You enjoy it and move on. You're just having fun in the moment. You know, and private servers came with its own set of challenges. Sometimes you join a server and you want to be the best healer you can be. And you know, maybe this server has 2x rate, so you can get to max level real quick. You can be the best healer you can be, or the best DPS, or the best tank, or the best PvPer. I don't know, private servers were awesome. You could do whatever you wanted. But Classic, if you want to be the best DPS in Classic, you better go to wowhead.com and look up all the data mined guides they have. And if that's not enough, you can look up your BIS list. You know, the game's already been played for you. It's not even fun at that point, man. A private server you can screw around, and because everyone knows it might go away one day, it doesn't matter. It was fun. You just enjoyed the moment, man. The other thing about Classic is that Classic was designed for 12-year-olds playing on dial-up on their mom's computer from 1999. It's not hard, but it's made out to be this insane challenge. I just don't understand it. It's a totally different mentality that doesn't work. Finally, and this is probably one of the biggest problems, is that Classic has this dreadful sense of permanence. Everything you do and did matters forever. On a private server, you can be a douchebag the whole private server, have a good time. You know, your name will be wiped clean at the end of the day. You know, your gear will be wiped clean in 2 months when Blizzard shuts down the server. But on Classic, all that stuff stays. Is it really fun? Is it really that fun? Private servers do what Classic never will. It's this weird sense of care from the developers. You know, the developers of these private servers, you might say, oh Bob, but you know, they're corrupt, you know, they're stealing money, they're selling gold. Yeah, sure, I get it. There's a lot of private servers and there's a lot of corrupt people. But do you expect me to believe that Blizzard isn't just as corrupt? You know, the developers of these private servers have a genuine care and concern and interest for not only the community, but also for the core and the script that the server's running on. You know, you might get a new update to the Mango's core, or this new server is scripted from fresh. That's awesome. That's great to hear. It gets everyone excited. There's all this great feedback. Blizzard, do they really care about, you know, improving their servers or, you know, updating realms or any sorts of the problems that they have? No, they don't care, because they have vaults full of money. They got money, man. You know, all they have to do is say, hey, we're remastering Diablo 2. And then all of a sudden, there we go. That's a couple $1 million in their pocket right there. These private servers, they're running on dimes, man. They're struggling. And I haven't even talked about Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King or all the other expansion private servers that are out there. Right now, WoW Classic is just vanilla. And Blizzard didn't even like confirm or deny anything about BC or Wrath at the recent BlizzCon. They didn't say anything, no questions about Classic Plus or changes or why to launch on the 1.12 client, which I'll get to later. Don't worry. Alright. But these Wrath and BC servers, and all sorts of other ones, they had these fun elements to them. You know, higher rates, you know, increased rep rate, custom drops, custom races. You know, the possibilities are endless, and there were tons of fun to play on. I don't know, man. It's kind of sad when you really think about it, because when I think about the future of Classic, I think the chances that we get a Classic Plus are slim to none. And I really hope we do. But I won't be holding my breath. The sun sets on WoW Classic, and I am disappointed. With the numerous unfixed bug reports publicly reported on forums all across the internet, including the Blizzard forums themselves, exploits that have been dealt with in a really inconsistent manner by Blizzard. You know, the XP bugs with the raids, the layering abuse. Why do some people get punished and others not so much? And then from the player base too. There's this sense of like excessive elitism. If you don't have the right spec, you're wasting your time, man. Get out of here. Oh no. You want a level as that spec? I recommend you just uninstall, baby. And, you know, it's like, how is that helpful to the game, man? How's that helpful? The raids are piss easy. It's a joke. Like, you don't need to be so tired. Oh, I got ganked and killed while I had world buffs on, man. I'm so upset. It's like, you're gonna clear the raid anyways, man. Calm down. It's the meter chasers. The same mentality that plagues retail has plagued WoW Classic. The BFA mentality is the classic mentality. I hate to say it. And besides the players, the actions the players do is disruptive and terrible. And it almost makes you realize the poor game design that went into WoW Classic. The excessive farming, the abuse, just the amount of raw gold in the economy and the skyrocketing prices of ingredients, reagents, minerals, all that stuff. You know, and that just brings me to the point of instanced dungeons, instanced content, where you can just reset it. Isn't that just terrible for an RPG? I'll let you all think about that one, alright? But it's excessive, man. That's all you do anyways at 60. You know, it's crazy. And then don't even get me started on the add-ons and the modern API that supports it. You have add-ons that essentially play the game for you. You know, as if you thought like questing guides were bad enough, you got Questy. You have add-ons that make like min-max. You're jumping in the lava so you don't take damage. You have add-ons that used to be like the former group finders. It's terrible, man. It just plagues WoW. And the developers, what do? Absolutely nothing. They did the one thing about the LFG. It's not in the flavor and state of how vanilla was supposed to be. Get out of here, man. If you really cared that much, Blizzard would have done a lot more, which I'll get to soon. Blizzard doesn't care, man. They cared for like the launch. They care about the money they're making, and they care about, you know, the dropping subscriber rates. So they're like, oh, let's release Dire Maul. It's not phase 2 yet, but let's release it anyways. Same with the PvP honor system. November 12th. Man, if you work a 50-hour job a week, you think you're 60 in gear to PvP? And even if you are, you know, you're working a 40, 50-hour week. Come home, oh, can't wait to play some WoW. Yes, I got Master Sergeant this week. Badass. You know what they're going to get next week? Master Sergeant, because they don't have any time to play. And the system is unrewarding to people who actually spend time outside of the game. Alright. This is one of the worst private servers I've ever played on. But not all is bad about WoW Classic. The questing, the leveling up experience, it was great. The scripts all worked, it was a lot of fun doing dungeons and hanging out if you had any friends to play with, and even if you didn't, the community that makes up Classic is still there. You're still forced to interact with other players and have a great time together. But to be honest, if Gummies or Felmist was the same size, the scripting quality of the quests were almost identical. So I'm not really too, impressed at the end of the day. You know, if Gummy can do it, I'd expect Blizz to be able to as well. But let's get to the meat of the matter. The poor emulation that WoW Classic is. WoW Classic is supposed to be the classic experience. But what did Blizzard decide to run it on? The 1.12 client, which they dubbed the 1.13.2 client or whatever. But it's a piss poor execution, man. You got 1.12 items, and you have 1.12 talents. And who does this appeal to? This doesn't appeal to the people who actually played vanilla back in 2004 and 2005. It appeals to only a certain target audience. Mainly, people who played Nostalrius and other extremely popular vanilla private servers. It appeals to them, and it appeals to people who played BFA and were wondering, hey, wonder what this game was like back in the day. I was born in 2001, and I love, BFA. Yeah, okay. But it's just low effort, man. I mean, back in 2004, I don't know if you all know this, but the talents were a lot different, and the classes played a lot differently, the items weren't there, and it was just a different game. Nowadays, you go into the instance, Oh, can't wait to log on Tuesday from a molten core. I love pressing bloodthirst. But listen, man, it's a great time, man. No, it's not. You clear the instance in like an hour, and you clear it with no wipes, and no stress, and no problems. Yeah, this is how it was. Winter's chill, bloodthirst. You know, hunters, mortal shots used to be 50%, now it's 30. Good grief, man. It just sucks. It's a piss poor job, man. That's all I can say. The problem with Classic is that it doesn't even try as hard as private servers did. Private servers did itemization. As wild as that is, private servers on the server end would change like item numbers to match what patch the game was at. Really cool. Things like talents are a different thing because you have to download custom MPQs and there's no launchers for most of these private servers, so you run into a bunch of problems. Some random Serbian doesn't want to go to some weird website and download a custom MPQ file, alright? But Blizzard, you have to launch us through their Battle.net launcher, so they could have done like a real one-to-one, like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, a real progressive system of talents. That would have been sick. That would have been awesome, because it would have been something different that private servers don't already do, right? It's not even an emulation of Classic, but WoW Classic is an emulation of private servers. Classic WoW. You know my stance. But if you enjoy the game, if you enjoy Classic WoW, I implore you, please keep playing. Because when I played the game back in September 2005, I remember it as being one of the best, most amazing video games I've ever played. One of the best online communities I've ever played in. So if you enjoy it, please do. I don't want to stop people from having fun. That's not what I'm making this video about. I'm making this video about remembering what could have been and what was. And for those of you who remember vanilla, remember what real vanilla, or even a custom private server was like, take some time and reflect on all the good times. Because that's what they were. They were good times. Some people say Classic's a gift, Blizzard didn't have to do this, Bob. Sure they didn't, but they did. Why? Because Blizzard is a business. Get that through you. Blizzard's a business. They make decisions based on money. So they realize Classic WoW has a market. Let's reboot it. If people don't like it, or if it's not real vanilla, screw them. They won't notice. They won't mind. We're making a quick buck. And that's what businesses do. I don't know about you all, but I'm not letting Blizzard pull the wool over my eyes again. So an ode to private servers. An ode to the fleeting joys of uncertain futures. An ode to fresh. And an ode to the good times. The private server is dead. Long live the private server!